brother man. Make sure my lighting didn't get jacked up as I came across it. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Famous or infamous? Which would you prefer?
Little of both.
Little of both. We have a local legend here, musician, lawyer, local lawyer, in case you need some things. We'll get into all this later. But Chris Dyal, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you being here, friend.
Dude, thanks for having me. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good to finally sit down with you, brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of which, Chris and I have been around each other a few times now, but we've never got to sit down and actually get to know each other. So this is going to be interesting for me, because I'm going to learn a lot about you, good sir.
Be careful.
Nah, this is what we're here for. That's the whole point.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So you lawyer, that is what you do day to day.
I am.
Now,
let me give the what's the bar recommended thing?
Yeah.
I am a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. Not your lawyer. I can be yours. Y'all have to call me. So anything I say here is, it's known as the hypothetical and theoretical. It is not actual legal advice.
Nothing's legally binding. Is that
right.
what you would say?
Correct.
Okay, cool. We're here. But yeah, I'm excited to get to know about what you do and where you're at in life, and a little bit about how you got into music and stuff like that. I've been contemplating about how I'm going to go about it, but I'm going to shoot from the hip if I'm honest.
Go for it.
So what?
Let me adjust here.
No, you're fine, man. Get
right,
yourself comfortable. We are doing nothing but hanging out, and this is all not live yet. I haven't committed to any of that, so we're all just chilling.
I was hoping we could get a God, what was his name? Bill O'Reilly. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
That would be great. One day, look, I'm gonna have, but I've had some people ask me to do it, and I'm a little afraid because I have some clowns in my life. I have some people that would sabotage.
You can get a following and get like 4 or 5 and do it up here on stage. Get a crowd.
It would be fun,
man.
It would be. And I mean, again, it's all for the betterment of like what we're doing here. Right. And again, that brings me back around to what you do. Like, what's it like being in a local band, bro?
Band's fun. God, I've been playing since I was 18, so 23 years now. I had my delusions of grandeur when I was a kid, thinking I was going to go be some freaking rock star and, playing sold out stadiums in Tokyo and, whatever.
Speaking to my heart, man.
The fun part of being 41 and being in a band is we don't have those delusions anymore. We just go have fun.
And that's what it's about.
That's the best part. Is like nobody cares about making the next hit record or whatever. It's, your buddies are hanging out on a stage together playing for a few hours, and if you make some money and somebody likes it, great. If not, hey, we had fun. Who cares?
And that's exactly, like, I'm so glad you said that, because that's where I'm at with this. Mm-hmm. Is like, I've moved beyond the attempt to try to reach some higher level or be like, if it happens, it happens
right.
Organically. Like, if you're good enough, you're good enough. Or if you're just enjoying what you do, that's all that matters.
Right.
And I truly enjoy this. Like, I enjoy getting to know people.
Yeah.
What's the name of your band again?
Get Out the Robbers.
Get Out the Robbers.
Yeah.
How did you come up with this?
Oh, God. Everybody asked.
That's why I wanted.
All right. So
let's give the people their answer.
I can't give you the whole answer because he'll kill me if I do it without permission.
Okay.
A very well-known musician from the area and I we went to Lynchburg, Lynchburg, Virginia. Sorry. Yep. I was dating a girl in college up there, and so we went up one weekend to go see her, and he tagged along. The Avett Brothers were actually playing that Sunday, and this is when nobody knew who they were. Like
my wife's favorite band.
Literally a free show on this college campus. Just show up and hang out and listen to them. Like, that's how small time they were. So we go up, and there was a thing at this college. It was a women's college, like a literal women's 100%. College. Yes. To the point to where Jerry Falwell from Liberty, right down the road, used to refer to them as the whores on the hill. Yeah, horrible name, but so they had a reputation of being. They were fun.
If you stick a entire gender on one hill by themselves for an extended period of time, it does things to the human psyche.
It does, and they, of course, one of the Virginia military schools was not far down the road.
Oh, that's a terrible combination.
Yeah, it was bad. Not to disparage anybody.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
they're fantastic girls. I love them.
Look, that's a fun time.
It
We'll call
was.
it that's a good competition.
It was.
We'll back up.
So my buddy gets up there, and the first night they do this thing out there. It's called Running the Dale, Dell.
Okay.
Except, of course, pronounce it like you're in Virginia mountains.
Right.
To run the Dale is to strip butt the hell naked and run across probably 200 yards worth of just wide open space on this campus. Well, he got into the brown liquor and decided he wants to go run the Dale. So he did. He comes back, we keep drinking, we're hanging out in the dorm room, and everybody passes out and goes to sleep. About 3 a.m, he wakes up.
Ooh.
From his little beanbag chair that he's been in, he wakes up, and from a dead blackout sleep, screams, "Get out the robbers!" And then you watch him fade to black in real time. Like he just sinks back down to his chair, just fade
enough
to
consciousness
black,
to let everybody
Yep.
know, and then black right back out.
And I told him that next morning, I said, I'm going to use that one day. So,
And here we are.
took 20 years, but
That's awesome,
finally
dude.
used it.
That is a great origin story,
Yeah.
though. That works out nicely.
We started off as the Degenerates that Andy named us, but
Shout out Andy Corder and the Imperial for
Yes.
hosting, by the way. Andy! He's in his own little world.
but we figured we should probably change that and be a little bit more approachable when somebody wants to book us.
I understand that.
So,
So is there a marketing value to like how you name yourself in a band? But, all right, so I'll tell
yeah.
you, I've been playing guitar because my uncle, Todd Jurgen, he got a guitar for Christmas. I was probably 12 years old, and he looked me dead in my face and said, "I'm not going to be the only one that learns how to do this, so you have to learn too." And I went and got a guitar, and thank him to this day for it, because I still to this day play guitar. It's like a therapy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had the gall or the gumption to get out and play. Like, I've written my own music. I've played melodies. I'm good at
You
melodies.
have a lot of
nah, dude. Even still, like, man, it is
I've been
insane.
doing this for 20-something years, like on and off. It
It
still
helps.
takes a couple.
Liquid confidence helps.
We got to have a couple before we get up there.
Because I did. I mean, you would think with the ADT thing, like having to approach an entire stranger's house and knock
Right.
on their door and then cuss you out or threaten your life and then you leave. But I never had the gumption to play my own music in front of people.
Oh man, you got to
It's terrifying.
share it
man.
with the world, man. That's why you write it. You don't write it just to let it sit there in the box.
Our intro and our outro is just me hanging out playing with my brother. Now that is the first time
Good.
that I've publicly put out something
Good.
that was like, this is me playing, you know? So I'm hurtling. I'm getting
Good.
there. I'm taking baby steps.
Well, you know the best part about being an artist, right? So the
There's-
difference between an artist and a musician. A musician plays what somebody puts in front of you. You're an artist. You write your own stuff. Play whatever the hell you want to. Nobody can tell you it's
Nobody
wrong.
can tell you different.
That's right.
That makes sense.
It's right, no matter what.
It's always right. And I play by feel. How you doing? It's been a long time.
What year
A year and a half at least.
at least?
I'm telling you. It's good to see you. But yeah, man, it's cool with like seeing people that are locally be able to get out, get on stage, play a concert, and everybody be rocking it in the
Yeah.
crowd, like having a great time.
Well, if I can just shout out purposes, bandmates, Kevin Long,
Yep.
Kevin, local legend, played with Clay a lot. Dennis Gully, who is the uncle of one of our greatest from here, Jay, who was in the band with JoJo, the other one from here.
Yep.
Oh God, I'm gonna lose the names here. Stan Brown, Stan the man,
Stan the man. Shout out.
who has recently gone to keys instead of guitar. So we moved him from guitar to keys, and it has opened up so much. The layer that you get by adding that in with the organ and everything, it's so much fun. It's so good. Sam Maxwell, one of the nicest human beings you could possibly ever meet. Sam's music. And then buddy of mine, Matt Fowler, is from Athens, so we don't count him in that list. But Matt's a good dude. He grew up in Crawford, over in Oglethorpe County, so
That's awesome.
he ain't too much different than us.
Did you say Sam's music? Is that up on the left side?
On the square?
Is that on the square?
Yeah.
Is that where
It's
Stan's?
Stan's old place.
It's Stan's old place.
He bought
So
it from
somebody-
Stan.
I did not. All right. I've been wondering about that. Stan, I didn't know you got out of the business. I love you, brother. The only reason I have guitars is because of Stan's music.
Oh, God,
Every
yes.
one that I own came from his music store.
I probably got my first like 6 of them from
That's
him.
awesome. See, I thought that I was like big business because I had like 3 or 4 guitars hanging on the wall. I got a banjo I need to learn how to play, stuff like that.
I've been threatened to get thrown out of my house if I buy anymore. She's gonna throw me out if I buy them. So the trick is now we just put them at the office and I don't tell her.
Nice. We won't.
Yeah. She don't care if I buy them. It's just I can't bring them home.
Can't bring them home. I got you. There's only so much space.
She asked, when will you have enough? And I said, I don't understand the question.
This isn't. What do you mean enough?
It's a question that doesn't have an answer.
Do you have a holy grail? Do you have a guitar that's like a Les Paul or a 30s or 40s Fender? I'm not sure about Fender as much as I am Les Paul because that's my thing. If I ever got a genuine Les. Italian hands.
I don't know. Probably if I had the money to get my hands on a Paisley Telly, a real one from back in the mid-'50s, that's probably about as good as it gets.
That's awesome.
Short of that, I want a good 60s SG. That's that one's. I still don't have one of those. I got like 2 Les Pauls.
What is it about the older things that play better?
They made them different.
More genuine?
They made them
like
different.
What? Even tube amps. Like when it comes down to your ampage, if you get old tube amps, it has such a distinct sound, and it adds
you're never going to get out of.
richness.
Yeah, your tubes are never going to be able to like undercut the new stuff. So the new stuff, compared to old tubes, you're never going to get the sound out of the new ones that you get out of the tubes. That's just the way it's made. But then you get the problem of having to replace tubes all the damn time.
Right. So there is a downfall to it.
There is, especially if you're out gigging and you have to lug that crap everywhere.
Dude, it's heavy and it's big.
You're gonna break them, and it's costly. So, if you're out selling out theaters, it's worth it. You got you got a road crew that schleps that stuff everywhere for you. I ain't doing it. I'm old.
Yeah, like you don't have like a set crew. Y'all set your stuff up.
Oh,
you
God, yes.
You do all of the road work, stuff like that.
Yeah, and load in isn't bad. Breakdown sucks.
Breakdown always sucks.
Right?
I was actually a roadie.
No kidding.
All right, so I worked the theater at Lander University. So we would set up for all of the shows that they did. We did the concerts when they did it out on the quad, stuff like that. So I was one of the guys that did the setup and the breakdown after the fact.
Well, then.
I know.
Load in's like, cool, whatever.
Yeah,
you're still,
get to hang out and party for a little bit.
Breakdown 7 hours later sucks.
2 a.m, you're sitting there just dreading it.
Yep.
And then finally the band's like, thank you, good night. And you're like, oh, my job starts now.
Yeah, it's not fun, but it's worth it. I mean,
it is, and the experiences that I got to meet so many cool people working at Lander. I wish I could remember their names. I've never been good with names in my life. I'm good with faces. If I see your face and I see you 20 years from now in a distant, I'm like, I know you from somewhere. But names, I'll have to say it 10 times before I actually stick.
No, same.
But yeah. Just band life as a whole, being at Lander and learning all the people. Like we did the Irish River Dancers. They came through and did the whole shebang.
Cool.
I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. I don't think anybody from Lander. All right. So this is back in the day. I'm not going to say the year because I don't want to get anybody specifically in trouble. But we were backstage, and after that concert, like beautiful river dancing, they did this whole like hour-and-a-half stint where it was like, God, I wish it's Lord of the River, Lord of the Dance. I think it was Lord of the Dance. Lord of the Dance. So we did the whole stint of Lord of the Dance, and they were a huge touring group that did like New York, they did L.A., and Lander somehow got them to come do Lander's campus.
Good Lord.
And I got to meet all of them, but as they were leaving, they went to hit the tour bus, and we had radios, and they had a radio as well. We were all on the same frequency in case they needed stuff or whatever. Sure. And they popped on and was like, hey guys, I'm not going to do the Irish accent that he had because I would butcher it first off. But he was like, hey guys, I got a baggie here on the bus. We got a flight in about 4 hours. What are we going to do? And we all look at each other, and we're like, baggie, do you think he's talking about what I think he's talking about? The second one is a chick, and she goes, just set the blow in the bedroom. We'll do it all before we leave. And we're all going, oh my God, this is over public radio. And like my bosses had this on their chest and all that stuff. I look back up in the top and they're dying laughing in the top because they didn't know, I guess.
I love it.
But they ended up getting on the bus, and I guess they did blow on the tour bus before they left.
As one does.
As one does after a full concert and river dancing for like 2 hours.
Well, that's how you get the energy to river dance for 2 hours.
Obviously, that's what they did. But yeah, it was pretty funny because it was so casual to them, and I was in college at the time, and I hadn't really like dove off into that culture or been around anything of that nature yet, and was like, and then my bosses were dying laughing up on the dock, and they, you know, it just rolled on. The night went on, they went out into their bus, everybody had a good night, they went on home, and that was it. But being a roadie at Lander, I gained a lot of appreciation for how hard it is traveling for people, because we had people come from like California, and we were like the last leg.
Right.
That was the last part of them before they hit Atlanta and go back home or whatever. And they're just dragging. And they're like, oh my God, dude, if I could just get through this. And you could tell they didn't have the energy, they didn't have the feels. They were just there doing the thing.
That's part of that whole getting older and realize you don't want to do that.
Not forever.
It's not a life to live.
Not forever.
No. Like, when you're young, cool, it's fine.
Yeah.
You're old, you got a house, you got stuff. Hell, you could live out of your car, it doesn't matter, but like, I'm tired. I want to take a shower and go to bed.
Yes.
I want my cat. I'm good. Like, I don't need to be out in front of, groupies and staying up till 4 a.m, blackout drive. No.
I don't have time for that.
Too old for that shit.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I'm good. Not to say we don't get a wild hair every now and then.
Every once in a while, look, now it's good to get the energy out, you know? But do you have a favorite song? Is there a favorite set song that you love playing more than
that
any
we play?
Well, for you specifically. Do you have a song you love playing more than anything?
It changes day to day. I'll get on a little kick here and there, but it honestly, it changes. I have an old one. God, 15 years probably. I started every single show by playing CCR, Who'll Stop the Rain. That was my first song that I would play.
That's a great song,
every single time. I love it.
That's a great song.
But it's so super easy. Mm-hmm. It kind of works with the voice. I knew exactly where to hit the pitch, so it was kind of like, okay, let me get the the butterflies out. Let's go hit this.
Let's pipe this.
Now, I don't know. The last few weeks we've been working on a couple of Jason Isbell covers. Palmetto Rose is right now my hands down favorite. But again, that'll change in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But right now, that one.
That's what's hot.
Oh, it's so good, man.
It gives you the dopamine.
I love that
It gives
dude.
you the rush.
I knew he was good, and then I went and saw him live the first time. I've been a Isbell groupie ever since.
I have a sad admittance here that I have never been to a major concert. I've been to local gigs, but I've never been to a major concert. I bought tickets to John Mayer last year.
God, you should have gone.
I know, man. Both my kids were sick.
So good. Okay.
I was a good parent.
I was
So
gonna
later
say.
in life, if my kids ever watch this, I love you so much because Daddy missed the one concert he ever wanted to go to in his whole life, just because you were sick and I couldn't dish you to somebody else. That's not your responsibility. Man. So I did my best.
That's a good man.
Both my daughter and my son were sick, so me and my wife stayed home. But it was supposed to be like it was birthday present the whole night. So I bought them for my birthday. The concert wasn't until March the next year. March came around and my kids were sick and I couldn't even go.
I'll tell you this. Keep an eye out for like Georgia Theater and 40 Watt. They're not the big ones that you think they are, but you get in a more intimate environment and those things will blast your face off.
See, that's what I want. I want to get the true musician,
so
authentic experience. Because stadiums are big. I mean, it changes per venue.
They're
What's
fine.
it like playing? What's it like? I was about to ask you, do you have a favorite venue? Because it just hit me. Is there a place you've played that was like, that place was fun?
Here's probably the for now is probably the most fun.
Well, everybody gets a little loose at the end.
They do.
They enjoy themselves over here.
There's some holes in this stage that we put in it. From I may have gotten a little too animated in like kicking off a chorus or something, and I stomped a hole in the damn floor. But it's fun. They take care of us. They like us. We like them. We get a good crowd. So yeah, probably here. Flat Tire was really good to us.
I don't go up there often enough.
I don't either, but my problem with them is their location. That's what kills them for me. It's so hard to get
It's not
parking.
their fault.
No.
It's Elberton's parking, and I'm not picking on the city of Elberton. Can I harp on this for just a second?
God, please.
All right.
You'll get me going too, so
well,
have at it.
I've thought
Let's go.
about this for quite some time. It's funny that you mentioned it. If we please, all right, so you know when you come across the lanes headed from, Walgreens and, hop in. Elberton, like my Elbertonians know where I'm talking about. You're at the red light, Walgreens is on your right, hop in's on your left, you're going across. All the parking spots on the side of the road to the right there are just linked in to where you can't see what's behind you until you start backing up. Please, for the love of God, can we just at least either angle them some more? It would be a few less parking spots, I understand. But there's a whole nother parking lot behind that building that you could park in that stays mainly empty for 90% of the year. Please use it. But if we could just angle those parking spots ever so slightly, you could see when you back up, first off, and you would be safer and more efficient getting in and out because you wouldn't be taking up as much space. So I've been thinking about that for a while. I don't know how to address the yellow light at the McDonald's issue because almost every time there's a yellow blinking turning signal, I almost have an accident because people don't know when they should or should not go. We will get there one day, people. I love you. So, but yeah, I had
It's like driving in Atlanta on a Friday over
It's
here.
crazy, dude.
It's nuts.
It is, and I've done the Atlanta thing. I lived in Atlanta
same.
for a year and a half. It was so crazy.
The only place I've seen worse is Tampa.
And I ain't never
Consistently worse.
been in that neck of the woods consistently.
Atlanta volume's worse.
Yes.
Tampa driving capabilities are non-existent.
Aren't they close to Talladega? How far are they from Talladega?
Quite a while.
Quite a while. Okay.
It's
Not even close.
middle of Florida, basically.
Okay.
It's a line straight down and then a line across. You're
Oh, so they're
pretty
not even an
close.
ocean-bound
About
place.
45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, Tampa's not on my radar.
It's fun for some things, but if you're not a hockey fan,
Not the biggest place
go
to be.
Bolts. There's just really nothing down there. Now, St. Pete, just across the bay over in
got
St. Pete, one of the greatest cities ever. It's fantastic. I love St. Pete.
Now, Florida's got it going on, I think. Florida as a whole, I think, is more...
Expand.
All right, here we go. We're about to get political.
All right, hit a pause on that.
Yeah, you're good.
Can we get a couple beers, please, sir?
Hey, we're still good. I had to check, make sure we're still rolling. I mean, obviously, we have the GoPro here, and everything can be edited.
Yeah, I didn't figure they wanted
No.
to screaming, hey, can we get...
Give me a beer!
Right.
Actually, I might leave that in just because it's more
No, it's
funny.
fine with me.
Like, it's genuine. People enjoy being a part of the conversation and don't feel like they miss out on shit.
Another round, Andrew.
Andy, my man. But yeah.
All right, so Florida, what's...
I feel like when we went through the COVID stint,
Okay.
and Florida didn't shut down, Florida was like, you know what, YOLO, fuck it.
Got it.
Even though YOLO is like one of my most cringe things in the world, I hate YOLO, but that's what they
You
did.
like the principle of it, I get it.
Exactly. That's exactly.
Podcast gets a Bristol bartender.
Thank
That's the best part.
The best
The
kind.
best kind, dude. Thank you, Andy.
you. You were the man, sir.
Best bartender in Elberton.
Another
Got you,
shout
bro.
out to Imperial and Andy.
Imperial, Andy. Thank you very much. I'm gonna cash. Thank you. Yes, sir. I think it's going well.
Yeah. All right. So
I'm having a blast.
So shutdown. All right.
All right.
What else?
Through the shutdown, I believe that they did better by not
Well, you know why?
adhering. Well, I mean, their economy is based off of people getting out and doing
That's
stuff. If
exactly
they did
right.
anything, they would shut down.
It's almost
It would all
100%
stop.
tourist.
It's
Yes.
100% tourism. If they
Yep.
stopped doing that, it would. So I get the economics. Like I try. Excuse me. I try my best. I am dangerously educated enough. Does that make sense? Like I really
Yeah.
am. I'm just smart enough to be dumb.
Yeah, you're like the newbie lawyers, the ones that just graduated. Were like,
That's
yeah,
me.
you know, just enough to be
Just
dangerous.
enough to be dangerous. I'm just enough to be dumb and dangerous. And now I have a platform that I can just sit
God
here and
help us
talk to
all.
whoever. That's the
God
great
help
thing.
us.
That's the great thing. So I genuinely try to be like smart about what's happening around me. Like there's half truths in everything that I learn. There's like not everything that I hear is 100% what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. There's
None of
other
us-
sides.
none of
to
it
this.
is.
Exactly, but a lot of people don't see the world that way. Is
Well,
what
I
I'm coming to
understand.
understand, and it bothers me because you can't be so black and white. Like
No.
it's not the way the world.
The world
works.
is not black and white.
It's not.
It's very, very gray.
It's very gray. So
That's why I have a job.
exactly. Man, that would be. We could do a whole nother podcast on your like what lawyering entails.
We can drag
The other foot. You want to see
the
what
other
it is?
lawyers in one night. We'll
See what they're.
do a full run on it.
I would love to, man. Like I want to learn.
Yeah,
That's why I do
because
this.
Jim knows PI. Like I do PI, but he knows PI.
Is it
Per-
personal
personal
injury?
injury, I'm sorry,
Okay,
yes.
no, you're good
Sorry.
because I'm a
I'm
layman.
gonna throw out
I'm a layman.
like technical terms.
Yeah,
Sorry.
please fill in.
Our new guy, Cody, just started with us this month. Cody did a lot of defects work in his history. He did a lot of real estate, so he knows those two really well. Did a lot of contract work, knows that stuff. The man can, God almighty, he wrote a contract the other day. And I've done some, and so when you first get started, you basically just steal from other people. You look at what they did and like, oh yeah, that looks good, right? I've done enough of them that I know what I'm doing.
Right.
He wrote one. Oh my God. Like, I was in awe of what this kid wrote.
All right. So when you say a contract, are we talking as a, because prospectively, what about it is that you appreciate? Now, when I say that, is it like zero loopholes?
That's part of it. The other part is he knows how to get everything in there without having extra language that's not necessary.
Wordy.
Right. It has what it needs. It has, all of your loophole closures. It's got all that stuff, but it's not wordy. It's not just him typing for the sake of typing.
So do y'all get trained on when you say loophole, obviously loophole is a literal
Loopholes are just the law.
It's the law,
right.
But is there stuff you specifically look for when you're like, all right, here is something that are you almost playing a chess match with yourself when you're trying to write these things?
Yes.
And like, if I had to destroy my own work, how would 100%. I do it? Man, that would be taxing.
It can be.
That's
why I don't do it.
That would be taxing. Shout out.
I just hired somebody to do it.
That's a tough job right there.
He and then Steve, our other partner, does a lot of real estate, a lot of probate. He loves probate work. Where, somebody passes, family comes with either a will or maybe not. And those
get dicey.
A little more, questionable, but he loves that stuff, and I do my PI, and I do a lot of juvenile work and do some criminal work. Defense, not, you need a criminal lawyer, not a criminal lawyer.
Right.
But those are kind of fun. I am a massive civil liberties and Bill of Rights guy. Huge.
I probably need to read that.
It's
probably important for my life and my individual freedoms.
It's only 10 of them. It doesn't take long.
It doesn't take long.
Yeah.
But I'm openly admitting I should be more educated on my rights as a human in America.
What's funny is if you want to be even more educated as a human in Georgia, the Georgia Constitution gives you more rights and more protections than the U.S. one does.
So Georgia, what's the other places like Georgia that give you those kind of rights?
As
I asked that, I was like, there's
idea.
Probably so specific. You have to educate yourself so
they are
in depth on one
Georgia
state.
and Florida is the only two that I know. In Florida's, I haven't practiced in Florida.
Is that a recent? Did you just extend your boundaries to Florida?
No.
Or is that
the quick background to be able to put it in perspective.
Sorry to
No, you're good. Hell, I'll give you the lifeline story real quick.
Yeah.
I'll keep
Fill
it quick.
me in. You're good.
Right.
We got this is my podcast. I can send it as far as I want to.
Yeah, but he's going to kick us out at some point.
Yeah, he will.
Born here in 81. Graduated high school here in 2000. Went to Milledgeville. I was a biochem major to start with. Took organic chem 2, and it beat my ass like I owed it money.
I know the feeling.
I ain't doing that no more.
I know the feeling, brother.
Right?
I know the feeling.
Transferred to Athens. I had way too much fun in both of those places. Went to Athens.
You got the college experience.
Yeah, I'm a philosophy major, because what the hell are you going to do with that?
I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
It was fun. I'm just looking back. I'm going, well, there was no career path on this.
Yeah.
That lasted about a year, and then in between, because there was some in between time. I'd go to school and work. I'd go to school and work, and then I was working at Ward's Pharmacy off and on there for a while, and I went full time again with them. And in 05 or 06, I was back over at Athens Tech, just taking a couple of classes that I needed to, because my transfer credits weren't going to transfer. I needed a couple extra for some damn reason, so I was doing that. And then actually met the met a girl who would become my future ex-wife. Got hired on with the city police department down here in January of 07. Went to the academy, did all that jazz. In August of 08, sheriff's office came calling, said, we'll give you a raise, we'll give you a take-home car, and we'll give you better insurance. Sold.
Sounds good.
So I came on over, worked with SO until January 7th, 2012 at 6:15 p.m. I kicked off for the last time. I remember it. I'll never forget that day.
Well,
I was so miserable at that point.
I was about to say, was it a turning point for the good?
I was 5.5 years in, and I was making about $30,000 a year, working 12-hour shifts. You know.
Is it still that way? Is it still? Are they still underpaid?
I hadn't checked it in a while, but it's low. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's
I just
terrible.
don't know how low.
I mean, for you to have to
gotta
put your
be
life
better
on the
than that.
line, basically, on occasion.
Yeah, on occasion.
On occasion.
No.
Now, we live in a small town, Elberton, Georgia. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. I'm not saying we have shootouts every day.
Right. I mean, there's there's situations.
There's some
I
dangerous
get
folks.
it,
There's some dangerous people out there.
but the vast majority of what you do is
Serving papers and stuff like that.
Nothing
Waiting
to
on
it.
folks to
Right.
getting out of the house. Like, again,
um,
try to be realistic about the things
Right.
we talk about.
so. My lieutenant at the time, about 6 months prior to that, back in like January, we had I think it was a Sunday afternoon. We had gotten a fight with a guy, and we were rolling around in a ditch, muddy, bloody, uniforms ripped, just tired. So we get off, we go to my house, we're sitting on the front porch having a cold beer, and T.O. looks over at me and goes, he said, why in the hell are you doing this? I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Tim. I said, it's kind of fun. And he said, man, he said, you're too damn smart to do this.
I was about to say.
Because he was in his 40s at that time. I'm sorry for keep doing my phone.
No, you're fine. This is life, man.
Well, you know how it is. Crap pops up and you have to deal with it. And so, he's kind of at that point. He said, man, I've been doing this for 20-something years. I don't really have a choice. I'm kind of in it now.
Right.
And he said, you're young enough to get out. And I said, what the hell do you think I'm going to go do? And he said, well, hell, man, you're always riding around reading them law books that Judge Bailey gives you, keeping us up to
You
date
were
on what's
reading
going
law
on.
books as you was driving
I
around?
was reading case law.
Yeah,
Judge
but-
Bailey would give me the updated case
No
law. and
sense.
I'd read
Yeah,
it.
makes sense. He asked you what the hell he was doing.
Right.
Makes
So
sense.
I kind of waved him off, and finally he said, go do it. I said, Tim, all right, fine. I'll make you a deal. I'll go take the LSAT, which is the admissions test. I said, I'll go take it. If I score high enough, I'll go. If I don't ever want to hear another word about it.
You scored high enough.
Scored high.
Here we sit.
Yeah, here we sit. Went to school, started in August of 12, graduated May of 15, came home. I clerked for Judge Hodges, Judge Malcolm, and Judge Phelps for 2 years, running off to Florida chasing a damn girl like an idiot. And I worked for the prosecutor's office down there in Polk County for, God almighty, from June of 17 until the end of 18. And right there at the end of 18, I done had enough of it.
Yep.
I was over it. I wanted to come home. When you wake up on Christmas morning and it's 85 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning, I want to go home.
Yep.
So packed it up, came home, stopped by and asked Steve if he still wanted some help. I believe he gave me an emphatic hell yes. And I have been there ever since.
That's
On
awesome.
January 14th of 19, I came back.
So it wasn't even a plan initially.
Not
it was
really.
just you a man of faith. You don't have to ask me that. You don't have to look at me like that. Like if you don't want to answer that, you don't have. But
I don't
it's
have to
fun.
ask you that? No.
I mean, you don't have to answer that. I apologize. But seriously, because it's so funny that you had no intent on doing what you do now, but you're so good at it. And me, I appreciate you allowing me to use your name, Kia of Athens, and me dropping because that was the only reason that anything got done because I had to threaten lawsuit for anybody to do the job that they needed to do. But you had no intent of doing that in the first place. So it's you kind of ended up guiding yourself there. But
Well,
it's just
I don't know.
interesting that life works out the way that it does.
It is.
Because it's
Let's
cool.
let's put it this way. I feel that there is some grand cosmic force that directs all of the universe.
I respect that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like,
Call it karma, call it a
we
being,
live in the
call it
Bible
whatever you
Belt,
want
so
to.
when people talk spiritually, it gets really weird really fast. Like, it's not something that people are used to talking about.
Right.
And again, because I've done ADT, like I splurt stuff out of my mouth before I think,
I usually do too.
and it's just
I've been
happens.
warned to have to be careful.
Yeah, so again, I don't want to cross any boundaries or anything like that. But it was so weird to hear that story from a third party perspective and be like, man, you had no idea. Like, this is how impactful you are in what you do now.
I think it did better though, going through law school at 30
Yes,
than if I was in my 20s.
dude, I can imagine.
I'd be some arrogant little prick that wouldn't know any better, you know.
What was the bar like?
Georgia sucked, like, because Georgia was the first one I did. Georgia sucked. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I walked in there, some scared little kid, you know.
Is it logic testing? Like, how does it?
Kind of, in a way.
Because my wife tried to prep for the bar at one point in time, and she gave me some of the questions like, if four clowns get in a van and
So
drive around
that's
a block,
more of your LSAT.
LSAT.
That's
what she was
where you get a
studying
lot
for.
of that for. So the bar is more of your knowledge,
Okay.
but it's a very general. Person X does the following fact pattern. What is the best charge that they could be charged with? It's not there's no
You now know the book of knowledge.
Right,
What
there's no
piece of the
wrong
puzzle
answer.
should you use here?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wrong answer, but it's the what is the best one, and that's how
got
it
you.
gets. I hate that shit. And inevitably, they're going to have some section on there of a area of law that you absolutely hate.
Yeah.
I had secured transactions, which is basically bank law, and I absolutely despise it. I have no desire to do anything with bank law.
Yep.
But that was on there. And then you do a day of essays where you just have to channel your inner bullshit factory and just type pages and pages of bullshit.
That sounds suffering.
It was miserable, but I will say, Florida, which I did, so I did Georgia in July, I did Florida the following February. Mm-hmm. Florida was way easier because I'd already done it.
So you
I knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I'd already got it here, so I knew if I screwed this up,
you're still good.
I was still good here.
The pressure was off.
And the difference it made. Oh, the difference it made. It was so much easier. Like, I walked out just frolicking down the sidewalk after we got done. It's like, okay, great. There's a hockey game on. Where's the bar? I can go
where
watch
can
my
I go
hockey
check
game.
this out? Yeah, that's cool.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I try to do my best.
Well, it's cool again that you ended up doing something that you're obviously passionate about. Like, it's something that you care about.
Yeah.
Which is more than most humans say on their day-to-day 9-to-5s. Like, most folks, I feel like, are not fulfilled in the life that they are currently living. I would say most folks, because I talk to a lot of people.
Right.
And a lot of people seem unhappy in their day-to-day.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So,
And any given day, well, you've been around me a few times. Any given day, you're going to be pissed off about something.
Yes, absolutely.
That doesn't mean that you don't
We all
value
have bad
what you
days.
have.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
I always say there's a bell curve for everything. And I mean that.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have the greatest days. You're going to have the worst days. You're going to have your mediocre
Right.
days more often than not. But it is cool to see, like, what was the law enforcement? Was it just that you were enthused by
My dad was GSP. So I
this
grew
is
up.
a legacy thing.
Yeah, I mean, I fought it for years.
How
and then
about that?
Finally, I just said, "Out of hell with it. Let me go do it."
That's awesome, man. So it ended up being a family endeavor. Speaking of family,
Yeah.
you have family, brothers, sisters.
2 little brothers.
Is Adam?
Yep.
Yep. I went
Adam's
to school.
the youngest.
I think Adam was a year older than me, maybe.
He was born in '87,
Yeah, he was a year or a grade ahead of me, I
Okay.
think, or 2 grades.
and Matt was '89. So yeah, they.
And I didn't know Matt. Oddly enough, and Matt was closer to me.
Kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually odd.
Yeah, but I always say, my folks enjoyed perfection for about 6 years and then tried again, and they failed miserably.
That sounds like a sibling answer if I've ever heard.
Oh, it's an
one.
oldest brother every time.
That's awesome.
Matt's a lawyer over in Atlanta. Married. I think they just bought a house last week. I think.
Congratulations, Matt. I don't know you, buddy, but I'm happy for you.
Adam's. I can never remember the name of this place. It's a like Johnson & Johnson subsidiary over
Yeah.
on Olympic over in Athens.
Yeah.
I think he's taken the offer, but they just offered him to be like a site manager. And
That's awesome,
shit,
dude.
dude, man, he's gonna make more than me.
That's awesome,
Like
dude.
they're paying him well, certified diesel tech and all this shit. Like he's doing great.
Dude, I wish they would have let me know at a younger age how much money working with your hands could actually
God.
make. Because it was not told to me. I grew up in the generation that was literally, if you don't get
Go
a
to
college
college, go to-
degree, you're not going to get a job. If you don't go to college, you're not going to get a job. I have a college degree. I am paying for it, and it sucks because I'm not using anything. I'm cool. Don't get me wrong. My wife always gets on to me for saying this because she was like, you wouldn't be the person you are now if you. And I did. I get a lot of my Lander tech group, but it wasn't those classes that I got so much better for being a human for.
Yeah.
It was the people. It was so many walks of life that I got to talk to, and I got to understand where people
the
came
important
from.
thing.
That's what I got to know in college. The classes I could have got from YouTube. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, sure.
Like the information's always out there,
Yeah.
and especially now as an older guy, I'm like, dude, you could have like Goodwill Hunting resonates so hard now.
$1.50 in late charges at the public library.
That's
Yep.
seriously something that resonates with me because I sense that. Like there's a whole nother generation of, I feel like, humans coming up that are not going to need college the way that we did. I just don't think that it's going to be as
Right.
prevalent. Now, you are going to need experts. You're going to need access to those in their field that are at the cutting edge.
Yeah.
And if colleges pigeonhole those people and say you can only hear Dr. So-and-so's lectures at Harvard, they will stay relevant.
Sure.
But if they don't and they go public with it, then everybody has that
man,
access.
missing that experience.
I
Like
get
you
it.
said, all the people.
All the
Just-
people.
You know, we're from here, man.
That's
What,
very true.
We're
That's very
3,000
true.
people in the city, 30,000 in the county, and that's on a good day.
That's true.
You know,
And again,
and
like,
we go off and we meet people from 15 different freaking countries. You know,
That's true.
That's a hell of a good experience.
okay, I'll give you that because the college, you do get a conglomerate of people from elsewhere that come there. That's what Lander, because I met people from France, Brazil, you know, all these other places.
That's what did it for me. Like
And I
that
get
was
that.
that
I
was
get
my.
that. I can agree with that. And my wife always gets on to me for saying that I'm a waste of my time at college because I feel as though that I didn't use. I ended up with an environmental science degree. I'm an environmental scientist by trade as far as my education goes, but I literally dig rock out of the ground every day in my hometown and etch on it, so it's kind of counterintuitive.
I bet that if you were to go back and look and lay out every single thing you learned there, I bet you can look and go, oh shit, I actually do use that.
I do. Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably more of I just hate the debt. I'm gonna be honest. The debt sucks. Like the
Preaching
amount
to the choir, brother.
and it hurts my heart because again, I got a great education. Yes, I learned a lot of things. Yes. Did I get the payout I expected? No, because I ended a career. Even when I tried to go into environmental science. Like I originally wanted to do either what's it called? Natural resources. Either
DNR or something?
DNR, something to that effect. But then they told me I would have to do like 3 to 5 years of volunteer work before I got into like. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, dude.
I'm not independently wealthy. I can't just.
Well, at
Fuck
that
off
point in
for
time, I
5
was
years.
trying to get engaged.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
you're sure not independently
I was like,
wealthy.
dude, there's no way. Like, there's no way I support a family doing this kind of stuff
No.
for the next 35. So I ended up coming back home and I became an etcher of all things. So I ended up an artist.
That's cool.
So it is. I do something different every day. So it's a very interesting
like it.
job. But at the same time, I look at that little, because my wife made me put the thing on the wall. Like I got the,
As they do.
yeah. And I was like, here's my, degree that I'm paying for. Deep breath, But it is what it is. Like I'm not unhappy that I got the college experience that I did.
You're better for it.
I am. I'm a better human for it. I just wish the debt didn't tag along with all the experience that I gained. Because I don't feel like I paid for the experiences. I just paid for some dude's time in a class. But at the same time, I probably learned a lot of things too.
Probably.
I will admit,
You wouldn't have got to be a roadie.
well, that is very true. I will admit that I had a genetics professor that challenged me to a point of testing. All right, there was only 18 of us in the genetics class. It was like genetics 101. I was like, oh, this would be cake. X,
Yeah,
X,
right.
Big X, little X, and do your little diagram boxes. You know the answer. You're good. This man handed us our first test. We have 4 tests all year. He told us this at the very beginning of class on the first day. You have 4 tests. You will be graded on these 4 tests alone. Nothing else in the class. No daily work, no homework. And we were like, oh, this is going to be cake. This is great. But you don't get to drop any of these test grades. First test, he handed us a test that had 7 questions on it. Ooh. Those 7 questions were things like, how is DNA made? And you had to go through every single step from first to last of how DNA is actually created.
Oh, God.
All the enzymes, all the proteins, all this great stuff. And we all bombed it. We all made like 25, 27. None of us, I think the highest.
Pray he grades on a curve.
Dude, everybody in there, I think the highest grade was a 48.
Oh.
That literally was the highest grade of everybody in the class. So we had never been tested in that way.
Right.
He said, okay, guys, you got 3 more tests. Good luck. On the 4th test after we took it, and we all were like busting our ass at that point because we realized how he was going to ask a question. He was like, he's going to ask you a general, how does this work? And then you have to basically teach it back to him. And that's the way he graded you. If you messed it up or you missed a step, he'd take you down. So by the 4th test, he came around, and we were all making 80s and 90s at this point because we understood. We was like, we can't fail. We're not spending money here and not passing. Dr. Lee, by the way, just shout out to Dr. Lee if you ever see this up at Lander University. But he's a cool cat. He challenged us all mentally.
It feels like he taught you how to teach somebody else.
He taught me not to base my entire thought process off of, okay, I could learn this minimal amount of information and then use logic in my questioning of A, B, C, D. Okay, I know it's not this. Okay, I know it's not this. It's either A or B. And then 50-50. It was, you either know it or you don't know it. And I had to change and now I approach things differently. I have to know what I'm talking about. It's not just general knowledge.
That's
so I did pick
that's
these
the kind
things
of shit you pick up in there.
Is that I appreciate. But I only got that at Lander. I started at Emmanuel trying to play baseball, and I say trying. I did well. I did well playing baseball. I broke my collarbone, never played again. And then I watched that team not do well that season. And as a young man, I was like, I'm not spending the rest of my life doing this, like watching. And I didn't have, there's a lot of excuses I can make, but that was the end of my college career. You know, I didn't play ball from there on. And I had big shoes to fill. My mom had went to Emmanuel, and then she went to Kentucky, and then she came back to Lander University, and she was a Hall of Famer, and I was supposed to, like, do all of these things. That's big shoes.
Yeah.
Very big shoes.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I felt that pressure everywhere I went. But it's cool because I always looked up to my mom. Like, she's a true, like, if there's a place in the afterlife that is all good, my mom's going there. I promise. Just because of her general being. She's a good human.
So sweet.
She's a good human being. She really is. And I draw a lot of what I try to be from what she is. So, and that's why I'm doing this, you know? So, it's cool. Do we need...
No, I think my cup's chipped.
Ooh.
That'll be all right.
It's all good.
It's fine.
Chip cups still hold good beer.
That's right.
But yeah, man, it's been a life experience going through college and just, you know, coming out the other side of it and accepting where I am and what I'm doing. I'm having to pay for it. I got a lot of things from it, but I'm not doing the career path I had planned on doing.
Yeah.
But life ain't bad. Like, I pay my bills, my kids are fed.
That's the thing.
I'm not suffering. I found happiness. I can say that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more than a lot of people can say. Like, I've genuinely.
It's a pretty
am happy.
cheap way to have to get that.
It really is.
I mean,
I do realize I was born probably a lottery winner in the place and time and where I am born.
Yep.
Like, I know it could be a lot worse anywhere else in the world.
It could.
And I try to realize that every morning I wake up. Like, it could always be worse. And I don't live with a negative mentality, but
It doesn't mean that you're gonna have bad days, but
everybody has bad days.
yeah, it's good to be able to look back and go, shit,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
I made it through it, and it's pretty good where I'm at now. But yeah. Is there any other band dates that you have set? Are y'all going to play anywhere?
May 13th, we are on for Southbound.
Yeah.
Music Festival out with Clay down in Bobby Brown. I think we're on at either 3 or 3:15. We're the
Okay.
first one of the day.
Awesome.
So I've got all day after we get off at, I think we finish at 4. I got all day to hang out and watch music and kick out by the lake, so I'm good with that.
Hell yeah.
Dennis and I are playing the winery on June 10th. For some reason, they tell us they can only accommodate 2. So this whole thing kind of started with me and Dennis. We'd come down here and do open mic nights, and it always just wound up being me and him. So that's the genesis of the band. So when he called with a date, and he's like, "Hey man, me and you, like back to old days," and I was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it."
Let's do it.
So we got that. Trying to line one up in April. I don't know where yet. I'm still working on it. Southern Heart's been after us. VFW's been after us. Had a couple spots in Athens that have been after us to go play. What I really want, and I've got some contacts that I'm having to work in, is the big stage outside at Southern, out on 29.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I want that one. And it'll happen. We just got to get it all figured out. But that's a big damn stage and a big ass crowd out there, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
I want it. I want it bad. But
y'all should do it. Absolutely.
yeah, we just got to make it all, kind of fall into place.
It'll happen. As good as you guys are, it'll happen.
I'm just a dancing fucking chicken.
Y'all are having fun out there doing it. That's
do.
all. It resonates with the people, though, man. It resonates.
Well, I tell everybody I'm a bullshit artist.
Hey,
I'm an artist in my bullshit.
you know what? Speaking of which, is there any piece of advice that in your life you could impart on those that exist in this little town that we call Elberton? There's just one little tidbit of things that you've picked up along the way, and it could be haiku-ish. It could be however you feel.
I don't want it to sound alienating because I don't mean it that way. But the world does not end at the county line. There are people beyond it. There's things beyond it. There are experiences beyond it. And we would all do well to take in a lot more of them. Be it food, music, culture, art, whatever.
The world.
Yeah, get your ass out there and go see some shit. I ain't saying you gotta leave here.
You can always come back.
Right.
I did.
Hell, you don't even have to move. Just take a weekend and go check out a art show at the High, or something at the Fox, or what the hell ever. It doesn't matter. But it's not all contained in this little 374 square mile plot of land. And it's kind of like we were talking about with college. You get out, you see some of that, and you experience it. You talk to people.
You realize the
You get a
perspective.
different
You get
perspective.
You get good perspective.
I didn't have it when I left here the first time, and when I was 18, I didn't have it.
Me neither.
I didn't know shit.
Me neither.
I got down to Milledgeville and got around a bunch of different folks, and I was like, oh my god. Just for about 2 weeks there,
that's
you're
what
shell
life
shocked
is.
and scared, and then you figure out, well, they're not that much different, and things are pretty cool. And,
Culturally, it's just
been there ever since.
Yep.
Which some appreciate and some don't.
Well, bud, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you hanging out with me
Thank
for a
you.
little while. Social therapy is going to be what it's going to be from this point forward.
I like it.
I appreciate you hanging out
Yeah.
and doing this. This has been the breakaway from my family and me being with someone of our community that's just generally
Lord.
a part of it. And I appreciate you,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me. Thank you to the Imperial for having us. Andy, and good beers. I appreciate you, man.
Cheers, sir.
Yeah, cheers. Matter of fact, I appreciate you for hanging out with me again. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah. Do you have any-
wrapping up, or do you want to get down into the dirty stuff that you're gonna have to edit out later?
Oh, I might need to hit the head before we do that, but yeah, I
Well,
can.
hit the pause.
That was fun.
Woo! That shit was hot.
Appreciate it, man. I like playing music. It's one of my favorite things to do.